Every year, it is our wonderful JRC tradition to bring the voices of our members to share a personal reflection, to share their thoughts and their hearts with you. And it is my pleasure for our Yom Kippur personal reflection to welcome to the Bima Yochai Eisenberg.
Thank you for this opportunity. My reflection is titled, Caught in Between the Self and the Group. My experience in the Israel-Palestine Working Group is an uncomfortable seat. It is not a cozy love seat, but the wobbly stool, the place where your thoughts and feelings are challenged from the outside and from within. In this reflection, I'll share my experience of what it's like to wobble on that stool, how at times I may have wanted to swap that stool out for a more comfortable love seat, how I found comfort sitting on that stool, and how my view of community has expanded by seeing how important things can happen when we sit on these wobbly stools in the uncomfortableness together. JRC's Israel-Palestine, or IP Working Group, is an initiative to honor the complexity of experiences of being a Jewish person today and being in relationship with Israel while holding a wide tent of viewpoints. I didn't know what that meant coming in. I wanted to impart my own views as a Zionist on what I thought JRC's relationship should be to Israel, but soon realized that wasn't the point. I came into the group as I felt that if I stand on the periphery of the wide tent, see what happens, read the newsletters, the wide tent might feel too crowded for voices that are pro-Israel. I wasn't even sure I wanted to be in the wide tent. Part of me wanted the comfort I had felt growing up in the golden age of American Jewry, as it has so been proclaimed. Also, I feared being part of a wide tent would mean that I would lose my stance on Israel, lose my relationships with Israel, and was apprehensive about participating in programs that might challenge my views or where I'd be challenging others' views. Indeed, my love for Israel runs deep. My grandfather's family came from Israel, or what was called Palestine at the time, in the early 1900s. I was born there and spent many summers there growing up. My extended family is there, and I have witnessed their struggle from running to the bomb shelters on October 7th to rejoining the army after they were done with their service and were in their late 30s with kids to support the safety they aimed to regain through the war. Something that I wrestle with in this group is the notion that ideas and opinions about Israel-Palestine are additive. I struggle with holding both and using and instead of but. On the surface level, the ands can be comforting. The war can end, and the hostages can be returned, and Jews and Palestinians can live in peace. I can be Jewish and Israeli in these anti-Semitic times openly. We can donate money to families of fallen soldiers and families who lost loved ones in Gaza. At a deeper level, though, the ands are hard to hear, hard to acknowledge, and when acknowledged, they are hard to hold at the same time with other truths that I hold so deeply. For example, through a program with the Interact organization, we heard from a Christian Palestinian woman about her daily struggles in the West Bank. That was an and that was new and important for me to hear. I wanted to be able to hold and witness and reckon with Palestinian suffering and not look away. But it is hard when so much of that suffering is used to weaponize empathy and to demonize Israel and Jews around the world. How can I be there and hold a place of such suffering, and at the same time hold suffering of Israelis, of my family, of Jews who are unfairly criticized and targeted? What became clear was that in this wide tent, we have different views, different ways that we conceive of Tikkun Olam. As a value, it is central to many of us, but we all interpret Tikkun Olam differently, and it moves us to act in ways that may seem in opposition. For some, Tikkun Olam means stopping the Israeli government, uplifting Palestinian voices, or sending money to Gaza. And for others, it means keeping IDF soldiers closely in our thoughts, or the reunification of Jews, and healing the traumas of Israel. Being able to have both versions of acting on Tikkun Olam would be ideal, but it can feel like they are pulling in opposite directions. This lack of alignment can be hard, especially when many of us want action or agency. The JRC board wants input from the group on statements or letters, and coming to consensus on any action has been hard. I have sometimes been the yield sign or caution sign, and that is where I feel the wobble of the stool strongly. And yet through conversations, retreats, and programming, I realized how vulnerable everyone was being by participating in this initiative, as we regularly tapped into a part of us that is very deeply connected to Israel-Palestine. In fact, I saw how lucky I was to share that vulnerability with others on a topic that is so very difficult to talk about, that many others can't or won't let themselves go to. In the IP working group, I get the privilege of sharing ands that are important to me and hearing ands that are valued by others. I realized I could embrace the nuance of this group, the nuance this group imparted, while also not sacrificing my relationship with Israel. Instead, I feel a deeper connection as I have learned and engaged with perspectives and ideas that give me a greater understanding of all the different parts of Israel, all of its complexities and jagged edges. I can see more clearly now why the group is called Israel-Palestine and not just the Israel Working Group. I can also see how I paint Israel with only certain colors, but often choose to leave out other colors that other people do see. Others see green, a religious right, aiming to keep their power. But I see blue, my young cousin who just made Aliyah, seeking to gain a sense of community, purpose that they didn't feel in the US. On this wobbly stool, the paint starts to smear, and it feels like it has all turned to that color, whatever it is when you mix all the colors together. I think this struggle of ands also relates to the saying, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? And if I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? In such a group, being for me means I need to share the ands that are critical to my identity as a Zionist, those that I can't not say or would feel I betrayed myself. For example, I felt the need to point out the risk that donations can end up in the hands of Hamas. But being only for myself would mean there is no room for others' ands and the things that are important to them. It means being stuck in the same position, the same echo chamber. It means not even seeing the wobbly stool and standing alone. Therefore, if not now, when, doesn't mean we all sign on to the same position statement or donate to the same cause or go to the same rally, but that we stay with each other on these wobbly stools. Through showing up for programs that are not only for myself or for me, we each put a little crumpled up paper under one another's wobbly stools. And through hearing the ands, we stitch a soft cushion on top of the stool. And by acknowledging each other's wrestling, we form a shulchan, a table full of snacks to nosh on to make the conversation a little easier. Thank you to all the members of the Israel-Palestine Working Group for such an opportunity to sit and share on our not-so-wobbly cushion stools. It has been and continues to be a deeply meaningful experience.